How are you?
Fine. Hi, everyone. I'm very happy to stay.
Well, it's good we get to have you here first. So this is a unique day because we're going to be talking in very personal terms with Alessia, who's a dear friend and a collaborator. And what we're going to talk about is something that, recent history, which is now, significant history because the world is, somewhat or significantly changed.
I work in fashion. I work as an art director, producer, and stylist. I work also as a teacher, as a professor in a lot of fashion schools, fashion and communication schools in Italy, and also in American University in Italy.
Okay. Yeah. This goes back a year, and this is the funny thing because we had shot a couple different editorials. Again, this is in Milano, and I remember so much because we had done a very dark story the day before. This next day, I remember all morning, and then the day before, Alessia was telling me, Mark, okay, this is beautiful, but tomorrow, it's glamour, it's light, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
I got it. And she's like, no, like glamour, like happy and smiling. You'll see them out of order because the pictures. So this is, the glamour, type shooting. It's very youthful and a very different tone. I mean, it's telling a different story. And I think that Alessia at that time, I was more into this look the day before. And she was like, she loved it. This was the day before, and we shot, like I said, behind the Contemporary Museum in Milano, this beautiful park.
Near Parco Palestro, we have this beautiful small park, and the day before we had Carmen. I made with her also Max Mara campaign. Just 1 week later, the same model, we made Max campaign, yes, and she's an incredible woman. And we choose this kind of Gothic and some also Victorian outfits. She seems like a ghost inside this park with these feathers, with these textiles, light garments, and with these dark lips, and with this also kind of hair, like 20s style hair. And this is the day before, but the day after I said, Mark, okay, we had the dramatic story, we have a cinematic story, so let's play with the fashion. So let's use garments, sparkling garments, tulle dresses, pastel colors. It's a kind of shooting, it's a kind of shooting with, for Cosmopolitan, for an example, or for Glamour, and the other one for Vogue Italia, Franca Sozzani style. So and this is the kind of, the kind of soul and the kind of mindset that you need to have, because things can change day by day, because maybe you have a magazine that asks you, okay, you need to do a Gothic style editorial, and maybe the day after you need to change everything in your mind. So you need to be flexible with your ideas. And I'm totally crazy with this, but I think that when you feel, especially when you do fashion photography, when you know very well the history of fashion, where you know very well also the brands, because you need also to be focused on every season collections and show. You need to know them.
So many people think these days, respectfully, it's great that you try and you get there when you can. But the idea is, it's not just taking a picture of a friend, on a rooftop. This fashion is different. There's a different objective. There's history. There's design history. There's history of.
Mark, there is a culture. You need to study fashion. It's culture. Believe you need to know also the history of photography, because there are a lot of connections. You can discover a lot of inspiration from reportage photography, from portrait photography, from fine art photography, and not just in fashion. You need to study. It's not just a sparkling word and just to stay in the right part, with the right people. It's just know No, no, no. So,
Can I just bring up, this is a little bit of a shout out. I don't know if you're watching another Alessia Glaviano.
yeah, she's
We had
amazing.
a wonderful talk with Alessia Glaviano a couple of years ago, and I'm going to quote her as best I can. I don't know, this is maybe not supposed to be public, but Alessia Glaviano said, if you don't have the team, the entire team, you can be a genius, you can be the best photographer in the world, but if you don't have the entire team, you have shit. That's what she said. You must have everything together. Everyone
Yeah.
must know their job and have a great history of this. And of course, Alessia Glaviano, worked, for the longest time with Franca Sozzani. She's the vision of world images. I mean, she knows everything that's going on. I'd be surprised if she's watching now because she's so busy. But yeah, so we have to hold ourselves to a higher order. When I was starting in this business a long time ago, living in Milano, and I would always think, okay, what would Franca think? What would Franca say? Like when I take a picture, well, I would always geared everything to Franca because she's been and continues to be, through Alessia Glaviano and others, the guiding light of how this is done. And this is so important to newer people. You really need to understand. That's why we have Alessia Caliendo here today to explain all these things about what it's really like. Fabrics, setting, story, these are all things.
Yeah, that's everything because I read a lot of news about fashion. I sent you also links from very interesting articles.
Yep.
Because you need always to be on news of fashion, but also you need to know the history of fashion. When you talk with people like you or people like designers that made the history, you need to do the comparisons. You need to know very well everything in fashion and not just, okay, Balenciaga is cool, Chanel has made a collection with the sneakers, the very cool sneakers. It's not just like this because everyone can do this. It's just to be a trendsetter. It's to be a shopaholic, but it's not like this.
No.
And
when you sit in these meetings all day long, day after day, and you listen to people who are saying why they were doing these things and what the position is, like Alessia is saying, in the marketplace and the history, then you start to understand the entire environment.
And also you need to be in love with good pictures, with good images, pictures that are beautiful. When you see a picture, I say to my students, when you see a picture, you need to say, you need to reflect about, can this picture be in my home or in my room as a gallery or not? If your mind say not, you say, okay, it's not a good picture for you. So think about the quality of pictures because now we really need to come back to the beautiful things, especially after this pandemic period, after this terrible situation worldwide. We need to come back to the beautiful things.
Yeah, and also really concentrating on what is your story? What is your message? What are you about? What are you adding to the timeline? What are you adding to the dialogue? When you take a picture, is it a self-portrait? Abdon said every picture is a self-portrait. Is it about you? Because that's the way you separate from other photographers, is that you are photographing you, not somebody else out of Instagram or, just copying somebody else.
Yeah. Just to be yourself. Just to be yourself on social media, because social media are so important now because it's a kind of portfolio for you.
Yep.
And but also try to put inside every picture a little bit of art.
Yes. Yeah. Know your art. Exactly. And so, yes, I've been doing a lot of shooting virtually. I'm calling it remote, and to quite great success for my style of work. So I will, if needed, continue working that way. This is like changes. I've been doing this for a long time, and changes go on from a different style, a different type of shooting, small format, large format, short lenses, long lenses, black and white, color. These changes all the time. This is a big disruption but it is one of the many changes that I've seen in my career. And I think that it'll be a combination of both.
And also, you know, when you are a stylist, it's quite impossible to make the styling virtually, just on FaceTime or on Skype or on Instagram Direct. But, you know, some of my colleagues try to give suggestions to models or choose from their wardrobe the right outfits for the virtual shoot. Styling, you need to fix the dresses on the models, the outfits on the models with the pin, because they needs to be perfect. Virtually, this thing, it's not possible, because I saw you made just nudes, or maybe with just a few clothes.
Good point. Yeah, most of my work I've been doing virtually are on the fine art side, the nudes, and that doesn't require styling. That's, you know, shape and balance and proportion.
Yeah.
And energy.
Because the styling is quite impossible virtually.
What do you look for when you select a model? That's, David, a big question, as you know, because it's determined by what the intent of the photographs are. I mean, for, you know, like to choose a swimwear model, you want someone who looks good in swimwear. To choose, you know, a teen model for the younger group, you know, that's usually a young person. So, but given that, what I will say is that I am so intent on having someone who I can communicate with, and who maybe they're young or maybe they're older, but having life experience so that they can, you know, tell the story, you know, properly. So I'm looking for people with soul, and I'm also looking for people that I have fun with shooting, because, you know, after all, it's a business. And you got to have people who are really willing to step up and do what they need to do, like the gal from Russia in Paris, and these wonderful efforts that are defined by an integrity and a strength and soul, most importantly. So people, I like layered people, people who have a lot to say and a lot going on.
I'm very straight with the models. When I need to do the casting, I'm very, very straight and focusing on the right face. This is my problem, because believe me, Mark, when I find the model that can collaborate on set, if she looks like lazy or something like this, or she doesn't feel the story, I immediately do this face. Or go to, because, you know, we do a lot of work before the production, the pre-production, story, the mood board. Maybe I traveled from Italy and just for one day, and then I need to come back, and if I find the wrong model, everything goes down.
And it sounds a little harsh, Alessia, but there have been times when I've just sent somebody home. If I can't do my job, I need to find someone who does, and sort of cold, but it's not. I have a responsibility to my client. I have a responsibility to myself. So if someone is not prepared to do the work that they need to do, I'm sorry, then maybe we do it another time.
Yeah, but you know, Mark, another thing is that we are talking about editorials, but when you have to do a commercial, when there are a lot of people involved with it, and you have more responsibility than an editorial, you know, you need to be, also the climate inside the theme needs to be perfect, and the model is always the key, the right model,
your representation. That's they're representing you. Like we've spent $1 million on one single television commercial. You know, you better have it right by the end of the day. This is a no mistake business. He asked, "What's my biggest fear that I have overcome since starting photography?" And, you know, I have to say, I can't even think of one. And it sounds cocky, and, you know, but there have been many times when there's a tremendous amount of pressure. But in terms of like fear, not really so much. I mean, you prepare properly, you accept work that you can do in a superlative way, and you do 1,000%, and then you sleep well at night. So, you know, I don't really think that, maybe I'll give you a call and tell you if I come up with something, but right now I can't really come up with something.
That's another thing. I think that my secret is to feel the story. I interpret the story that we made on set. So when I start to produce a wardrobe or a mood board for a story, I try to feel myself inside the story too. I study a lot. I do a lot of researches, of references, and I feel the story. I'm here with the model and with all the team. So because if you are like how to say, in a dream, you know, you are interpreting your dream. You are on a stage, and you need to feel the story on your skin. Do it in the good way about it, because when I shoot with you, when I work with you, you don't like the posing. The models are totally free to interpret themselves inside the story. So it's interesting to understand how people feel the contact with you, catch the contact with you and on the camera. So and this is the kind of photography I like. I don't like the posing photography, the static photography. I like the reportage, the dynamic photography. People like an hide and seek, you know, something related by photography and not just pushed by the fashion photography. I don't like the static models, the very glamorous posings, but you know, it's just my opinion, and it's just my kind of idea about photography. So this is the reason why we collaborate.
This is a great question, Magnus, because you know, depending on where you are and your personality type, where you are in your career, I am very flexible because I'm very confident because of experience and a long time in encountering different situations. And I know that at the end of the day that I'm going to get all that is necessary. So I allow myself a lot of flexibility. But when people who are newer and they're going by a list, and everyone has their own way of working, and it's fine, but going by a list and checking off a list. When I see they have the, you know, the clipboard and the pen, I like, you know, sort of move away a little bit. But what I do is if people get really nervous, and some people have heard this before, I'll say, look, here's the deal. You can be as nervous as you want all day long, but at the end of the day, you're going to have everything. You're going to have everything that you need and more. So use the day the way you want if you want to be nervous. But in the meantime, I got to go do my job. So the idea is, if you want to allow a certain amount of flexibility, because when it's rigid like that, then you don't allow things that happen organically. I also like to play as a team. I don't need to be the one who only has the ideas. It doesn't have to only be about me. I love people around me who are smarter than me and more talented, because we make a good team.
I want to add something. We choose each other. And as I said, Mark said, you need to have a lot of flexibility, and you need to be smart every time. Because, you know, everything can happen during the shooting, and you need to discover a new idea immediately, and to follow your original idea in the same way, or do something different. And but you know, you have to play the game till the end.
Yeah. Also, you got to remember that when you're working for a client, you know, the producer, like, you know, Alessia, let's say you get a job, Alessia is producing the job, she's got to present to the editors at the magazine, the client at the designer studio. You know, she's got a responsibility then to take back what you said you were going to do to them. You know, so it doesn't stop on the shoot. Sorry, I thought we have one more question we've got to do here, or we would like to do. Sorry, 1 second. So this is from Hugh John. Mark, I know you pre-focus, zone focus, with very fluid style of shooting. Are you sometimes surprised by what you get, or do you more or less get what you're getting, especially with your F1 Love Your Work? Thank you so much. It's an honor. Yeah, no, I know exactly what I'm getting. It's, you know, again, I like, you know, seat time in a race car. You'll be fast only when you spend enough time in that car. Practice, 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 practice. When you've had as much time with the camera in your hand as I have, you can be confident and also be predictable in a very unpredictable way. Well, the results are all in this very organic, energetic, lifelike genre. There's a lot of looseness in that. And thank you for the compliment.
Thank you. Thank you
Perfect.
so much for this amazing meeting, online meeting.
Yeah, and great to see you.
You know, it's a very good moment for learning and for meet each other in a very good way. So
Yep.
also for me, it was incredible to meet new people online, having new students, and the learning and the online academy are amazing. And these are our social media. You can follow me on Alessia Caliendo. But I'm always connected also with Mark, so you will know everything about me also between Mark.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you. Love you, Alessia. Talk to you later.
Yeah, see you later. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone. Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.